Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever it is in your area. For me, it's good afternoon. Appreciate everyone tuning in. I'm going to go over something today that's extremely important with the Division 2. Literally one of the top three, four things in the game. I just happen to be sitting over here at this safe house called the Ring, and I see this dude wanted to, I guess, dress up as Kamikaze Van Doom. So I figured, screw it, I'll just stand next to this guy for a moment. I don't think I've ever wore that yellow jacket. But anyways, let's go over this stuff real quickly. One of the things you are going to find in the division as a new player, returning player, definitely as a new player, but returning or experienced player, is ceramics, electronics, resources. However you're going to optimize your weapons or gear sets and all that kind of stuff. So that means shade calibration, field recon. Then we have a rifle alloy, but the other ones that are the main ones here, not so much the exotic materials, the exotic components, but as you scroll down, in order to optimize things, in order to do anything in the Division 2, as far as getting your weapons optimized and expertising them up, you're going to need components. You're going to need resources. And you got receiver components, protective fabric, steel, carbon fiber, polycarbonate, ceramics, electronics, titanium, and especially printer filament. These are the most important freaking things next to, and I say this like, with a grain of salt, this is almost as important or just as important as quote unquote inventory management. Inventory management is another thing you guys will see, or anybody who plays this freaking game, is, alright, good. So when you go to your stash, you can see I have 119 on the top there was my inventory. I'm carrying basically 119 things right now. When you go look at my stash, I've got 437 of 450 things. I got a lot of shit. And I just have not had the patience. Not so I can make the time. I just haven't really honestly had the patience to go through and sort out the things that are valuable and not valuable. But that's going to be, honestly, that's another whole video. Let me see if I can get this little, whatever the hell that is in the background there. Like a little, I don't know what the hell it is. A green and blue thing there. The inventory management, because you do so many missions and control points and checkpoints and all this kind of stuff. You get so much gear, so many. When you go into your caches here, I've only got 4 right now. Field proficiency caches. You just end up with just a shit ton of stuff. And then as you go through, you just delete. Sell. You can sell some of the stuff for money because you're gonna need money. But the biggest thing that really costs you is going around and farming. Farming for components and all those things are a huge part of this game, and that's just the way it is. To make better use of your time, you want to find someone or some place that you can run a route of some type to find as many resources as you can. When you go to do something and you go to optimize it, you're going to need resources. I'm trying to find something like here. So I need that specific resource. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I only have 22 of 37. For me to optimize that, I need to have at least 37, which means I can do control points. Or there's another thing you can go in the White House, and I'll show you that later. You can buy some of those things you could buy. But I am going to show you now. This is my route. This is the route I've been running now for several years, off and on. I don't remember the exact route, but I'm going to show you close enough. So what do you do is, it's very, very important, okay? You want to head over here. Say the White House is here. You shoot over here to the solar farm area. This is called East Mall, but my brother and I, we've just been calling it solar farm. This whole area is just, we just call it the solar farm. Now, the best thing to do is do these control points. It's really the main thing, these 2 control points, and this one's even better just because there is so many NPCs and people that pop up in this area, resource convoys, all kinds of things like this, public execution. There's just a shit ton of stuff. So my advice to you guys is just run through, take a little time, get the control points, and make sure you give them a little bit of resources. They will ask for water, food, and components, and just give them a little bit of stuff. And this way they're all green. And now this one is not really that important, Metro Ruins, because it's not really part of my route. There's probably a shit ton of stuff all throughout here, but I don't include that as part of my route. So just shoot over here to the ring, and I'll show you the route I run. And I'll kind of just do it. I might not be talking a whole lot, but here's where it starts. I'll just get this just to get it, but
Friendly control point detected.
I think if I remember, there's something here. Yep. It's been a little while. So we turn here, and you're gonna see on the bottom left, polycarbonate fiber. Those little boxes over there, the brown boxes, carry electronics. So that's already, we already got 3 boxes. And we're just gonna grab the handgun, and I'm just gonna show you, this is a route I run every day. Takes about 10 minutes, but you get several hundred components and electronics and all that, so. It is possible that I might miss some, so forgive me if I do. But there's honestly so many things in this area. Oh, I did miss that one. So you run through here, you grab those few, and then you just come up here and grab this one. Get up there, my man. Steel and titanium, all these things you're gonna need. A lot of times, I wanted to show you if there was one over here. I just couldn't remember. Yeah, there's one here. A lot of times at night, see, they'll turn bright. At nighttime is a great time to farm for these things, because it's really easy to see them. So I'll just get those. Oh my god, what are you stuck on, my dude? Really? That's what I'm stuck on, a fucking pallet. So I run through the door there, I grab those few things, and then I honestly just set out over here. And this will be more or less the route. And, you know, you can always scout around, you know, there is a shit ton of stuff over here. Now I end up kind of running way over here.
Hostile assembling a golden bullet.
This is a hazard of this area, see, because I already have all the control points, like I said. But unfortunately, sometimes these little things pop up with a couple people. Let me just see if I can kill these guys real fast. Alright. I want to go back to where I kind of like run through this area, because those guys kind of threw me off. So you run through here. You know, sometimes you just got to kill a couple people. But it's just box after box after box. And once you do it a certain amount of times, you'll be able to kind of like buzz through the area. And usually I kind of like do like a little zigzag pattern, because sometimes I forget where something is. I go kind of back and forth here. Let's see what time it is real fast. It's 6 o'clock. 1800, so it's actually going to be getting dark here soon. So that's going to be even better for us, because you'll really be able to see what I'm talking about. But like I said, pay attention to the lower left, and you'll see it's just constant resources that I'm going to be getting. And these are very valuable. Like I said, a big part of this game is getting these resources. That's why I don't really expertise up a lot of stuff. I do way more optimizing of things than really expertising up things. I'll expertise up, you know, a few things here and there, but I know there's a box over here somewhere. I might have missed it. Oh, here it is. They're like a little sneaky little box. Then I run through this area here. These next two areas, like I said, there's just a ton of stuff. I hope that this video really helps you guys. I'll try to edit it out best I can, you know. But for
Friendly control point nearby.
and I'm sure, you know, if you know, if other players, you know, you guys, I want to help as many people out as I can. So I hope that this really helps someone out there, you know. Like I said, you kind of stick to like a little route. I know there's one right here. Yep. Then when you get in this building, there's a bunch of them too. They're all over, but they're not all over every part of the map, you know. They're like certain sections, so you can come up either way. And I usually just go through this building, look left and right. There's a little thing in here. And I've done this kind of route so many times that and you get a few hundred items. I think here it's just a weapons cache, but screw it, might as well just get it. I'm not gonna need it, but I'll deconstruct it, you know. Jump over here, there's one right here. I don't think there's anything over here because I already got it. But I just check for you guys. Nope. So you jump over the rail and you grab that one. Then I go around this here. There's another one. Right here. Then you can go into the control point itself. Now it sounds like
Assembling a golden bullet.
sounds like there's a couple people in here, but now that I already have this control point, and look, I still own this area, this control point, but you know, there was someone trying to.
Received.
There was someone trying to cheese your area. Sorry, I stopped to take a drink, sip of my coffee, my Cuban coffee. So this is the area that we first came through, and then we ended up going through that building, right? And we came out through there, ran into the control point, grabbed those couple things, and then usually what I do is I just run over to the far side over here. My day, I usually have a couple small cups of Cuban coffee, or like, because I'm, you know, so you guys don't know, I'm from Miami, so I'm so used to having my Cuban coffee, or like up here, and I live in the Seattle area. They call it up here just Cuban espresso, you know, basically. So there's boxes everywhere. Everywhere you can find these boxes, you know. And if it gets dark here soon, Jesus, it's just a constant. Now, if you do this route every day, you don't have to necessarily even use the resources. You know, right now you don't have to use them. You just get them. You collect them. Even if you're doing some other mission, just, you know, kind of just shoot through here, take your 10 minutes or so. Grab all this happy stuff. I think there's a couple more around somewhere over there, but yeah, let's just grab this one. I'm not going to run over the entire whole planet over there. So right now, we're just finishing up here at this second one. We're just going to run through this last section here, because there's a lot of stuff through there. And then that'll be basically the end of my resource run. I just run over here. I know there's a box over here. Did I pass one? Yep. But you get several hundred items, and it's really
Detected from the control point.
really handy. I don't think there's one over there that I remember. I know there's one over here. It's a real handy area. Like I said, it took me, I don't know how I learned about this route. I guess when we used to play Division 1 several years back, somebody probably talked about it back then. I don't remember how the hell we ended up, my brother and I, learning about this area here, but whatever the case is, and then this whole area, sometimes I could see somebody over, I think there's somebody right there. A lot of times there might be like a group of people up there. You might have to end up shooting them and all that. Even though you have the control point, this area sometimes is still a little hot. That's why I say make sure that you want to get these control points, because if you don't, and you can see the route that I've been running here, you can see the little lines. Now you could probably run through this whole thing, and there might be a shit ton of other things out there, but I'm so used to running the specific route. I'm just going to run that route. I'm not going to search for every single box. I know there's one up here. It looks like there's people over there somewhere. But it's valuable. It's valuable to know where these areas on the map are, because you're going to need these things. 100% you are going to need these resources. So like, subscribe. Yeah, see, they're leaving though. I don't really want to get into it with people. There's that little thing there. Let me see. Oh, they look at that. That's how the game is, sometimes, and that's why you got to be careful, A door will open, these guys are trapped in here now, so they're not going to come out. Now you got this little thing here, because I worked for the phone company for 20 years, so this looks like, something I would have been doing, working on these lines, It goes 20 years with AT&T, So you run up the middle here. If it was nighttime, you'd see it even better. Yeah, I was a CWA, Communication Workers of America, union member for a long time. Now we got that one. We got that one over there. Shoot over here. Get this one. Go into this little trailer. I think there's something in here if I remember. Yep. Yeah, we'll just loot it. Armor kit. Okay, I know there's something right around the corner here. Oh. Well, screw it. Oh, look at that. It just came right out of the door there, so might as well get it. Alright, I'll just take that. Alright, let's go. So I know there's one here. Up here.
System reactivated.
Now this is basically towards the end of my run. We've already kind of run that whole route. Grab these last few things. And then what I'll do is, I'll have to go back to the video and look. We did look at my resources in the very beginning. I don't remember how many of what there are, but I know, I'm pretty sure there's something out here. I can't remember, but typically the last thing I get is like over here. This thing and this. That's pretty much where I would end up stopping. Gathering components. And that's about the end of my run. So if we go back and look real fast, you know, you just hit the ring safe house, go through this control point real quick, shoot all the way through. As you can see, my route with all the white buzz all the way through. Takes about 10 minutes or so, and at the end of the video here, I will go back and I'll put a little list on the screen to show you how many electronics, titanium, and all that, more or less so you can have an idea. There are more things out there. I didn't get every single one, you know what I mean? Because, you know, it is a big area, but that's just the route that I run. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I really appreciate the comments. I really do. You guys are awesome. And the subscribers, the new subscribers, and yeah, it's fantastic. You know, again, like I said, Division 2 community, you will find some really good people when you go into different matches if you just randomly matchmake with people. And if you need help, don't shy away from asking. You know what I mean? People will help you. If you need a gun or advice with a build or whatever, you know, ask us. You know what I mean? And people will be very friendly and or friendly enough, you know, and they'll give you good advice. You know what I mean? And even if you need a gun, hey, I need a bighorn. And if somebody gets one, more than likely they'll fucking drop it to you. You know what I mean? It's a really pretty good community. That's why we really, you know, don't cheat. You know, let's just try to keep the game fun so we can have many more years and just keep growing together as a good community. I wish you guys the best. I will salute everyone. As an honorably discharged U.S. Marine, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Please be safe. And you guys have a good day.